All right, NFL Week 12, early bets, early leans, early things to consider. I already did guess the spread over on my TikTok, but it's time to get into it. I would, first off, just peek behind the curtain a little bit, how the sausage is made. I would advise any amateur sports bettor to do something like this if they're trying to just take the NFL a little more seriously. Tiny bit, and this doesn't take much work. This is how I start every Monday. After I do guess the spread, which I should look at headlines, all that sort of stuff, instead of doing guess the spread, but I'm a sucker for good content, so I do guess the spread. I don't look at any of the lines. And then after I do that, I write down every matchup, and then I write down what the line was in May, what the look-ahead line was, and where it stands now. And I highlight the biggest disparities because that, to me, helps us understand overreactions, underreactions, our assumptions of those teams, the market's assumptions of those teams. And again, this is all, you could just Google it. Look-ahead lines, Week 12. May openers, because all these lines come out. The books put out lines in May for all of these games. They're, low limits, all that sort of stuff, but it just gives you a sense of where that team was, of what our assumption was going into the season. And then the look ahead is 1 week before they played their most recent game. So what kind of overreactions or, underreactions, I guess, happened within the span of just one game, because we all know small sample size in the NFL. And like I said, then I write down what it is now. So I guess we'll get right into a bet right off the bat here. It's ugly, but we're going to do it. And if you watch Guess the Spread, you probably know where I'm going with this. Indianapolis +8 here. Buffalo just went to Indy Week 10. They laid 4.5. Buffalo, we think, is got to be one of the best teams in the league. Detroit, I think we can all agree, is the best team in the league. But now Detroit goes to Indy. Yeah, they pummeled the Jags with Mac Jones. And now, they're laying 8 here. So the difference between, it's not apples to apples, but just in a sense, Buffalo and Detroit, I think Detroit's slightly better than Buffalo. What 2 points, 3 points? They've played in neutral field tomorrow. In Detroit was -3.5. We'd be all betting Buffalo +3.5. I think that would be a bit of a gift. And now, so Detroit here is 8, and then this is a Colts team, right? I've given Anthony Richardson a lot of crap, but I said that Joe Flacco was an upgrade, all that sort of stuff. Maybe being on the bench was better for Anthony Richardson. This line says barely any upgrade to the Colts. I would say it's at least a half point with the way Richardson played, and then Detroit, this is just what they do. They pummel teams. They pummel bad teams like Jacksonville. They laid 13.5. Yeah, I know they blew the doors off them, but this is just too big of an adjustment for me. For example, the look ahead in this game, a week before, Indianapolis beats the Jets, and a week before, Detroit stomps the Jags, which again, they were 14-point favorites. Look ahead line was Detroit laying 6.5. Now this line is Detroit -8. I don't know. Seeing Detroit blow out teams doesn't make me upgrade them 1.5 points. I know they're good. I know that they have the ability to blow out teams. So I really like Indianapolis +8 here. It's already going down 7.5. I would take 7.5 as well. Anything over the 7 or more than 7 to me is a solid bet. And 8 is my favorite number. Because what I'll probably do is I'll take Indy +8 like I already have. And then for a smaller bet, I will tease Detroit down from -8 to -2 with somebody else. So you have an opportunity for a middle there as well. So a bigger bet on Indy +8, and then I'll take a smaller bet on a Detroit teaser 8 down to 2. This line's already going down, so you could even get, I think we're going to be in a range here. You get 7.5 down to 1.5. So a 6-point teaser, that's a little fun thing I like to do to potentially get a middle, which we all love. We all love a good middle. Another game I'm looking at here that has me scratching my head a little bit, and the line's already moved, unfortunately, but 2 games, again, if you watch Guess the Spread, you probably know. Philadelphia -2. Now it's at Philadelphia -3, and then Baltimore -2 at the LA Chargers. Now that is -3. So looking at the money lines here, you don't have to take this right away. I don't think. I think Indy +8 you have to take right away. But I'm for me, because I was doing Guess the Line and I did actually grab one of these teams -2, but I was doing Guess the Line, so I was busy. I played them both on the money line. I played Philadelphia on the money line, and I played Baltimore on the money line. Let's just talk Philadelphia in the LA Rams, for example. So look ahead for this game was Philadelphia -3. This thing opened If I look here, what was the answer and guess the spread? Yeah, Philadelphia opened -2, -2.5. Now it's corrected at 3. But, that was the Rams beat New England. And if you watch that ball game, New England very well could have won that game. So the Rams, to me, kind of a shaky team. It's one of the weakest home fields. We all know that. Home field's not 3, in case you're new here, but it's especially lower at SoFi Stadium. You get a lot of out of town fans. A lot of LA's a transplant city, so a lot of Philly people could show up there. And I was hearing "Who Dey" chants during the Cincinnati LA Chargers game last night on Sunday Night Football. So now this thing did get corrected back to 3, which I think is right. If you don't want to lay the 3, I'm interested in taking Philly money line here. Another one was Baltimore at the LA Chargers. So that look ahead was 3. It opened 2 for week 12. Baltimore -2. Just to me, looking at this, like, I think it's an overreaction to what we just saw in those 2 games that their respective teams played. The Chargers, I mean, that game to Cincinnati, right? If McPherson can hit a field goal, Cincinnati wins the game. And, I know they were getting blown out. So you actually can read that game a number of different ways, actually. Like, the Chargers should have stopped them with their first half lead. But Baltimore, look, they're a 2-point conversion away from tying it up against the Steelers. So I think Baltimore, to me, this matchup is a favorable one for Baltimore coming off the loss. The Chargers, we all just watched them on Sunday Night Football. I think the money line on Baltimore there is certainly something that I already bet and that I would bet if you're really looking for it. Look, if you're looking at these money lines, if you bet baseball, if you bet hockey, you're used to looking at money lines. And I think, looking at these sometimes like a baseball or hockey game is a good exercise. Baltimore -160 I'm looking at. Yeah, I'm going to take that. So those are 3 right there that I already bet. Again, you don't have to go hop on Philly and the Chargers or Philly and the Ravens quite yet. Maybe there's a little buyback on that 3 on the other side. You could possibly get 2.5. So those are 3 that I've bet. And then a couple I just want to talk about. The Chicago Bears. I think we've seen, they get off the mat against Green Bay, a field goal away from winning the game. They've had a number of heartbreaking losses this year. The Bears have. And the look ahead for them, they're hosting Minnesota. The look ahead was 4.5. Minnesota beats Tennessee by 10. And then you get a Chicago team that probably should have beat Green Bay. This is down to 3.5. A lot of sharp money was coming in on the Bears last week against Green Bay, or over the weekend rather, on Green Bay. Now it's 3.5. It looks like sharp money again, or these early bets. People are grabbing the Bears here. This is the thing about the NFL. Could this be a week too late betting on Chicago? Right, like maybe another heartbreak for them. We shouldn't be moving the line in Chicago's favor. Like they could be in a what the hell. We can't. Everything we try, even when we're close in a game. We can't finish it out, i.e. Washington, i.e. The Packers game. So sometimes we're a week too late on these things. If you're like, oh, now I know Chicago's good, or rather, now I know Chicago can be competent because I just saw what they did against the Packers. Well, the line adjusted a point, right? From the look ahead to now. Everyone knows that adjustment happened. That's baked in. That's why I say that this exercise is a good one. And then another interesting one is Denver, right? They definitely deserve their flowers for what they've done. In May, this Denver-Las Vegas game was Las Vegas -3 at home. And these 2 teams played early in the year at Denver. Denver laid 2.5, which said they were close to even teams. Now, Denver's laying 5 at Las Vegas. The look ahead was Denver -3. So going into week 11, it was Denver -3. Now it's Denver -5. Maybe that adjustment is correct for you. I'm not betting. I'm not in a rush to bet it. But look, Denver, if you're like, oh, Denver's good now, I'm comfortable betting Denver. Well, they just went from, -3 before this weekend when Las Vegas lost to Miami and Denver blew out Atlanta. They made that adjustment. So again, I think this is a good exercise to see what's baked in, what's not baked in, all that sort of stuff. It's a good exercise that I would highly recommend. So I told you I got 3 bets. I got Indianapolis +8. I got Philadelphia on the money line. I got Baltimore on the money line. Tail if you would like. It's again, to me, this is more about the exercise of what we're doing here. And looking forward to week 12, kind of, sort of. It's a brutal, ugly, disgusting slate. But it should be a good one because you know why? There's numbers attached to them. There's lines, there's totals, there's props, all that sort of stuff. Appreciate if you stayed this long watching. Good luck in all your week 12 bets.